Hey guys, Tanya Target here. Take two. Can you see me and hear me now? I'm going to be chatting about getting you booked as a speaker right now when many will be telling you that it is in fact a really bad time of year to get started. So I'm just going to check and make sure that you can in fact hear me. Can you guys hear me this time? I am hoping so. So chances are, if you haven't already reached out and trying to get booked at a networking event, many people are telling you that it is not the right time of year to do so. And I just want to tell you that that is not the case. Any time of year is a great time of year to take action. Yay, you can hear me. Fantastic. Thank you, Kate. That was a very quick change of devices, so thank you. I really appreciate that. So you can get booked at any time of the year. It is all in how you approach it, and it is in the phrasing. In fact, about 5 years ago when I first started selling from stage, which is very different to just speaking from stage, but when I started selling from stage, I graduated in, I think it was April of that year, and I immediately went out to get booked. And a lot of my colleagues and my peers were saying to me, Tanya, you're going to have to wait until next year. And I thought, why? I mean, it's only April coming into May. I mean, we're not even halfway through the year. And a lot of event organizers will in fact be booked, and many were booked. However, things happen. And again, it's all in the positioning. So if you are looking to get more speaking engagements, or if you're even just looking to get started and you want to get booked for next year, here's what you need to do. Step number one, you of course need to find where you want to speak. And depending on where you are in the world, some people will already have been booked their calendar, their schedule for the next 12 months, which is where plan B comes in. But also if you're in a country that doesn't have as many networking groups, speaking spots are premium. And so you really want to have that plan B option for them as well. So even if you're in a large country where there's lots of networking groups, you're competing with a lot of people, and in those smaller countries there are fewer networking groups. So of course that competition is a little bit hotter. But just because all those spots are taken right now doesn't mean that you can't get in there, because every leading Hollywood actress has an understudy. Every leading production has an understudy. And when you are happy to be that understudy, again, it's all in the positioning. I'm going to give you that wording. Then you can become the lead star or the lead starlet and begin your hero's journey story in the world of speaking. So I reach out to networking groups. Firstly, I decide which ones I am going to, which ones match my avatar. So which ones match my customer? What my message, how is that going to resonate? So training for completely other day, but I just want to point that out, that you do need to think about, where do I want to speak? Which ones make sense for me, for this product? Who's going to want to hear from what I have to say? Because just like in the media and publicity world, not all media is created equally. Not all speaking events are created equally, but we do need to get started. So you do need some kind of pitch. You need some kind of media one sheet or speaker's profile pack, depending on where you are in the world. They call them different things. I have one here for you as a free gift, which you can get. Crazy feedback about it. So if you don't have it already, make sure that you do get it. So you're going to need to update that. And there's going to be elements of it that you can and you can't fill out depending on your speaking experience, but you are going to need to have a signature title of at least one talk. That's going to make you stand out from everybody else. So you're going to need that key signature talk and about 3 takeaways for that audience. What are they going to get from hearing you talk that they're not going to get from someone else? So that's kind of stock standard that we all need. And that's what every speaker will have. And that's what every speaker will have who is pitching for that talk that you also want to get. So this is what you do. When you reach out via email and then follow up on the phone, guys, just like when you're pitching in media and publicity, it's not just about sending in that pitch, that application to get booked as a speaker. You also want to follow up on the phone. And I can tell you that some of these event organizers, some of these people who book speakers, they are harder to get a hold of than journalists. I swear, particularly here in the States, I have made 12, 15 follow-up phone calls, 3 to 5 follow-up emails, all done in a particular way to get booked at some of these premium events. So don't give up, make it fun, make it a bit of a challenge, but just know that you do, the fortune is in the follow, like anything in business. So when I approach them, depending on the time of year, I will say something like, look, this is me, this is my credibility in terms of which parts of my journey are going to be relevant to this networking organization? Which part of my resume or my CV or my life experience do I need to pull out to make myself an expert to that audience, so that that event organizer who's never heard from me before, and might not have even seen me speak. And if you're brand new to speaking, chances are you don't have a speaker sizzle reel. You don't even have a video. So they're taking a bit of a punt, a bit of a gamble on booking you. So you want to show them how to reduce that gamble by giving them a little bit of that credibility, by saying, hey, I say, for instance, hey, I'm Tanya Target. I'm a former investigative news journalist. I'm an award-winning news reporter. I've spoken. I'm now based here. I was here. I've spoken on stages as small as this, which is really important, so 25 people, and I've spoken to larger rooms of 1,200. Now, I wouldn't just say 1,200 when I was going to a networking group, because they might go, oh, she's not going to want to come and speak to my group. I've only got 15 people. Au contraire. So that's really important. If you have spoken on those big stages, make sure that you also let them know that you are open to speaking to those small groups. I will digress, but I just want to point out to you as a digression that don't judge the quality of the speaking opportunity by the size of the room, because the bigger the room, the less, the fewer numbers of people who are going to come to the next element of your sales funnel. The bigger the room reduces the intimacy. The bigger the room, the smaller the conversions from selling on stage, which is very different to speaking from stage, to selling from stage. So those small rooms, yes, it's a smaller number of people, but you have that intimacy factor, which is really, really cool. So I approach them, I tell them my credibility. I've done this. This is what I talk about. These are the key takeaways for your audience. So a lot of speakers, when they make that pitch, they make it all about me and how wonderful am I. But it's not about that. It's about what is my audience going to get from you. So you think about yourself. If you're organizing a networking event, you're thinking, well, if this speaker comes to my group, are my group going to love me after she talks or he talks? Or are they going to go, who the hell was that and why did you book them? So we want to make sure that it's very clear what their audiences are going to take away and how pumped and excited their audiences are going to be. You'll see in that Media One sheet that there's a room there for you for testimonials. Look, if you've got testimonials because you've already been a speaker, pop them in. But if you don't stress, just get started. Don't use it as a roadblock. Every single speaker on their speaker journey started at their very first speaking event and they had no testimonials. So just make sure you get them as quickly as possible. So I approach them with, this is who I am, this is what I do, these are the key takeaways. And look, I appreciate you're probably already booked out. I appreciate you're really, really busy. So what I'd love to offer you, I myself have run events. That's a credibility positioning statement. I myself have run events. So I understand that things come up at the last minute for speakers. They pull out, they get sick. I would love to be your plan B if this happens. Please do reach out to me. And if I can make it, if I don't have another commitment, I can get there, I will be your plan A if your first plan A falls out. So did you notice the positioning there? I have run my own events, so I understand that sometimes, speakers get sick at the last minute, speakers get double booked. A speaker can have something happen in their personal life. Someone might pass away and they have to be somewhere else. They're human beings. And this happens quite frequently. And the number of times I'll have the event organizer say to me, oh my goodness, Tanya, I'm so pleased you said that, because that just makes life so much easier and that already puts you higher on the list. And I couldn't tell you the number of times that I have gotten into somewhere in weeks where other people have been waiting years. Now, what if you have, I'm just checking your comments, what if you haven't run your own events? Well, you can simply say, look, I know it's a pretty busy time of year, or I know you're being harassed by a lot of people, just kind of, the elephant in the room, state the obvious. I know you're probably already booked for next year. However, I'm a speaker, I'm a professional speaker, or, even if you're not a professional speaker, I'm a speaker. I've spoken at quite a few events. I understand that things come up last minute for a speaker. And so what I would love to do is that I would love to be a plan B for you if your plan A falls over. And no matter how short a lead-in time or whatever short notice it is, please don't hesitate to reach out, because if I can be there, I will be there. But did you notice the positioning in that? Is that it's not just I'm happy to be a plan B. It's I've run my own events, so I understand these things happen. That's huge for an event organizer, the fact that you have run your own events. It gives you huge credibility. So even if you are brand new to speaking, start running your own events. When I first started speaking, I spoke at my own events. That's how I got started. I literally was running my own events within 3 weeks of finishing my speaker training. So if you haven't done it yet, you got to do it. To digress, because those of you who've been watching my Facebook lives, you know I do this. When you do have your own speaking events, you also solve a booking problem because you can stage swap with other speakers. So that's really cool too. But you've got that positioning of, you know, I run my own events, therefore you've got that resonance and that empathy with the speaker. You've got credibility because you run your own events. And I understand things come out at the last minute, change at the last minute. That makes sense to the event organizers. So then you can say, and if that happens, no matter how close to your event, please reach out to me and I will move heaven and high water to be there if I can. Again, that doesn't say I'm going to drop everything and my diary is completely open for the next 5 years. Please book me. What that says is call me straight away. I will do what I can. And if I can make it work, I'll be there. So you haven't lost any positioning in that, which is really, really important. And then again, if you haven't run events, which is going to change from this moment forward for you, if you haven't run your own events, you just simply say, look, I have, I've spoken at quite a few events myself. I often attend events. I understand that speakers pull out at the last minute. And I understand what a nightmare that is for the organizer. And so I would love to be a plan B. If you please pop me on your list of plan B speakers. So if you do find that happens, please do contact me. Happy to travel. I'm happy to come last minute. If I can, I'll move everything possible to make that work for you. What that does to the event organizer is they love you straight away. You go onto a different list straight away. They already remember you straight away. So you are now, instead of being a name amongst a sea of speakers, a name amongst this huge list of speakers, you're now, Tanya Targett, she's happy to be a plan B. And I'm not a diva about it. I mean, I don't, yes, I can have my moments and, we all have it in there where we can be a little bit of a diva. But 99% of the time I'm not. And I want to make it easy for the event organizer to give me a speaking engagement. I want to make it easy for the event organizer to solve the pain point they have. And if I can be the solution to that pain point, then it's just going to make it, I'm going to become not just their plan B, but I'm going to become their plan A. And as Jillian's mentioned, this is particularly important when they're booking in advance. So for instance, I'm booked in the second half of next year very heavily. I started pitching for speaking engagements here in the United States a little bit late. And already I have become a plan B for someone. And I'm now their plan A, and I really don't mind because it's a huge opportunity. And Anthony just hopped on and said, "You look amazing, sweetheart." Oh, thank you, darling. I had some technical problems before. So they are incredibly, incredibly grateful. And you can, so just think about that. So networking events are booked 6, 7, 8 months out, and literally at the last minute, someone can suddenly have a horrible flu 5 days out and they can't travel. You can't predict that kind of thing. Someone can have, unfortunately, an illness that pops up, or a loved one have an illness that today when they booked it, there's no sign of that. But in 9 months' time, or even in 3 weeks' time when they're due to speak, they literally can't go. They've got to be where they're supposed to be, and that's with their loved ones. And so literally every event organizer always has a plan B. And by getting on that plan B list, you can become very quickly their plan A. And here's what I find, or I stole this from Oprah. Here's what I know to be true. When I am plan B for somebody, I become their plan A. Because all you want is a foot in the door. You want a foot in the door so they can see you and hear you speak. And then they'll know how awesome you are. And then you can get your whole body through. Now, Jillian's just saying she's lost my voice. Have other people lost my voice as well? Can you still hear me? Can we do a sound check? Sound check. Can anyone hear me? Let me just see. I just want to check very, very quickly if you can still hear me. I hope so. I'm just waiting. Does this mean that no one can hear me? Can everyone hear me? Jillian, I'm just going to do very quick. Can everyone hear me? Oh, thank you, Kate. Kate can hear me. Jillian, that is you. And Anthony said as well, exposure is key, and exposure is key. You know, I know it's, look, this is just between us, right? No event organizers are watching this. And like, this is what I would say off the record. So this is, you know, it's really, really, really sneaky, and it's a really great strategy because, and it's a little bit, I don't like to use the word manipulative, but I think we're all close enough for me to use that word, okay? It is actually a little bit manipulative because you know your plan B is actually your plan A. And you know that by being a plan B, by them giving you that shot, that's all you need. You need that one shot. Then when you get that one shot and you deliver and they see how awesome you are, you're no longer a plan B. You become a plan A. So really, your plan B is your plan A game. Does that make sense? So it is... it is a really cool strategy, and literally you can become the keynote speaker in a very short period of time. You do not need to do years and years of speaking to become the keynote speaker. Don't buy into the it's too late to get started. Don't buy into you need to hit the rubber on the road and you need to speak for 5 years before you can become a keynote speaker. This is not true. I went from speaking, Anthony just said to me, sharing my success from stage, you know, I don't want to talk dollar figures, but I will say, and I know, Jillian, you were there, and a couple of other people who saw me speak from stage the very first time. I burst into ugly-faced, sobbing tears as a speaker in front of a room, and I went from there to world stage in just a couple of years, and multi, very high six figures selling from stage. And had I had waited for the next year, well, who knows what other limiting belief I would have bought into. So don't buy into that. So use plan B as your plan A if you need it. And don't buy into any kind of, oh, you know, I'm not the first choice, or I feel funny about that. Proudly own that you are happy to be plan B, and you will become a plan A. And it is just between our just between us, that really being a plan B, that's my plan A, because I know if I get that foot through that door, they will never get me out because they will love me. And I just need that chance. You just need that chance. They'll see how amazing you are. And I want to hear about it. I want to hear I want to hear your plan B stories. Has anyone else got a plan B story? This is literally how you can land in a new country like I did. Moved over here to be with the gorgeous Anthony, who's with us right now, in December of last year, and was booked and speaking within 2 months, selling 5 figures from stage. It can happen that quick. 2 months later, booked again. At 6 months later, on one of the biggest podcast networks in Northern America, told that would take years to happen. Don't buy into that. It's not true. Humbly embrace your plan B, and you will become a plan A, and we will see you everywhere. And if you don't have a Media One sheet, or you don't have a speakers pack, grab it. I've made it available again, and it is actually coming down in the next few weeks. If you don't already have one, grab that there. If anyone has any more questions, I'm here to take a few more questions. Otherwise, I am going to jump right off. Thank you so much for joining me and staying with me during some technical difficulties. I started on my phone and moved to my laptop, and I'm just going to pop in again that link for you, so that if you don't, oh, look at that, that's a bit impressive, isn't it? If you don't already have your Media One sheet, please grab it. And this is happening every week now, guys. So for those of you who are here with the very first one, I look forward to you watching the evolution of these weekly shows. But I just think, you know what, you've just got to get started. I give myself permission to be imperfect, so that hopefully you will share your genius, because there are some amazing geniuses out here. Jillian, your first paid gig was a plan B. There you go. Plan B can be your best friend. And a lot of people have huge egos and they want to be the star. Hey, babe, I'm happy to be the understudy. I just keep me in that radar. Just keep me within arm's reach. And the minute there's an opportunity, boom, take it. So being an entrepreneur is all about seeing the opportunities when they come and setting yourself up. More training about speaking. Yes, Kate, I have so much training coming about speaking, particularly literally through the next sort of 10 to 12 weeks at least I've got lined out. But I'm also going to be sharing, I'm going to be asking some questions. So I'm going to also ask, what is your biggest blocks with speaking? In fact, I'll use that opportunity now. Thank you, Kate, to ask you that, because I'm obviously there's some things that I would love to share with you that I think would be of value, but I prefer for you to tell me what you would love to hear. You can copy the link. Yes, Gillian, I am just working on how to do that. This is, I might have to put it in the link once we finish so that I can make this working for you. I'm new teching as I go live. So Gillian, I will get that for you. I did have it in the title, but it may have disappeared, so I'll fix all that up. But guys, what I would love to know, and feel free to leave it in these comments right now, what is your number one hurdle when it comes to speaking and selling from stage? Two different things, let me point out. Speaking from stage is just sharing your story. Selling from stage is leaving voids or gaps or missing parts of the piece as an entry into your sales funnel. That can be for a lead magnet, like a free ebook or a checklist. So what is your number one obstacle barrier? What is the one thing that if I could solve that for you when it comes to public speaking, paid speaking, keynote speaking, whatever you want to call it, what is that one pain point that you would love for me to solve? Because I will create the content there for you, and if I don't have the answer to it, we'll go find a crazy expert and I'll interview them and I will get that for you. So please do let me know your number one tip, and remember it is working. Okay. Thank you, Suzanne. Look, you guys are just awesome. I hope this gives you permission. You know, this is going to be like, you know, if anyone seen Marie Forleo's archive vault, this is going in the, I'll keep it though. It's always wonderful to see how far we have come. And I literally came from welfare to world stage in about 2.5 years. And there is nothing special about me, guys, although I should say there is something special about me, but there's something special about all of us. And if I can do it, you can really do that too. Yes, Gillian. Gillian is talking about selling from stage, about creating that content, but leaving a vacuum so that they have to act. So, for instance, it might be, and just in addition to that, it might be that if I was talking about speaking or selling from stage from the front of the room, my vacuum might be my Media One sheet, and I would create that vacuum, or I might even share an email template of how I pitch networking organizers to be booked as a speaker. Who would like that? So I'm just going to create the vacuum. I'm just going to create the teaching moment by doing it. But if I was standing at the front of the room or on a Facebook Live, for instance, and I said, well, I could give you my email pitch that I use to get booked in, you know, several of the largest eWomen Network chapters across America. Would that be of value to you? Because if it would, if you give me your real email address, this is if I was speaking at the front of the room, or you click this link, I can give it for you. But if you actually want that, just let me know in the comments and I will private message you and we will get that sorted. But that is an example of a vacuum. And what that allows you to do, of course, is to continue that conversation beyond that live event. Again, we've like dumped in a whole heap and your mind might be going, oh my God, what is all this jargon? What the hell is she talking about? I thought this was about being plan B. But yes, you've got me live. So when I'm live, I tend to go crazy with the content. So any more questions on that? And guys, I can see many of my awesome friends posting the free Media One sheet. Thank you, Gillian, for doing that, and Kate for doing that. Monica, I'm so pleased that was helpful for you. Please do let me know. You know, how are you going? Where are you at with things? Are you at the start of your journey? Are you looking at now moving from free speaking to paid speaking? Are you unsure even where to speak? So please let me know. You know, what's stopping you, or where are you? What's your biggest pain point or problem to getting to that next level? Because I loved Suzanne, I'm not sure that comment was for us. It was hilarious though, and I would like to say about the bear, I believe it does. Now, Kate just had a quick question. Do you love speaking? There's lots you can speak about. How to decide on what to speak about. Really, really important. You get, there's lots of arguments about this, Kate. You need to find, and I'm going to go with you what I subscribe to, okay? And what I subscribe to is one keynote signature talk that you can own. That when people think of that topic, over time, they come to associate and think of you. You want to niche and claim a niche. You want to claim that industry. So my signature talk is how to create $100,000 in free publicity and become the #1 expert. After 5 years, thanks, Suzanne. What's for me? It did disrupt. I liked it. I like disruptive things. That's really cool. I gave that talk for 5 years, and I'm still giving that talk. And I haven't started public speaking about speaking from stage, but I probably will, probably in the second half of next year. And that key signature talk will be something around bathroom mirror to keynote speaker, or something around that. And then I will have that one signature talk, which I will perfect. I will make sure it converts, and I will do that, and I will get known for that, and I will get booked for that, and that will be a huge sales funnel. And then I'll have 2 signature talks. Now, some people have 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and they do say on your Media One sheet that you should have 3 to 5. When you download my Media One sheet, you'll see that I think I do have 5 in there, but really I have 1 talk that I promote and I pitch. It's just that when you read my Media One sheet, you'll see that I do have some other things. Now, could I talk about those other things? Yes, because I've delivered training about those. But when I pitch to an event networking group, I pitch 1 title, 1 talk, and it's the same talk all the time. But I will often have in there, I will ask questions when I have a conversation with the event organizer about their attendees, and then I will modify my talk for who was in the room, because you need to make sure that even though you have the signature talk, that it connects with the people in the room. So it is cookie cutter, but instead of putting in chocolate chips, you might put in hazelnuts. Or if everyone's allergic to nuts, you're going to go back to chocolate chips. You're going to put in coconut. So you've got your core recipe, your core ingredient, and then you might just add in just a tiny little slight variation to make sure that the audience wants to consume what you are serving. Now, how do you come up with that title? I'm actually going to do a training on that, Kate, and I'm also going to do live Facebook sessions where I take your title and do some tabloid Tanya work on it. So that's coming too. So lots of crazy stuff coming. The key thing about your title is typically, and just to give you a little bit of an idea in between, is you want to show a little bit of the transformation and a little bit of the deliverable, make it tangible. So where they are now, where do they want to be, and how are you going to get them there? So how to create $100,000 in free publicity is very specific, and it shows the transformation, how to become the #1 influencer no matter what your industry. So there's a promise in the title and a transformation. Where most people go wrong is it's not sexy, okay? So for those of you who've worked with me, and I know, Kate, obviously you've got some amazing media results, think of headlines. So think of how we write headlines. And guys, I'm just sort of giving a foreshadow here. I'm going to give training on coming up with your signature title for your talk, but I just want to honor the questions that I have here. So in between, you can be thinking about, I always research what other people are doing, and I go, okay, well, this is what everyone else is talking about. I don't want to be talking about what everyone else is talking about. Quite often, I'll go to Amazon.com and I will look at book titles, and I'll look for what I call magic words, which is sexy words in book titles. And I will play with them, and I'll play with putting different book titles together in my industry, in my genre, to come up with the beginning of my title. It won't be my final title, but it'll be the start of it to give me something on a blank bit of paper. You've got to disrupt the traffic, and it can't be, it needs to be something that's memorable. It needs to be something that is going to stand out from all the other titles that are in there. And as I said, I'm going to have some training on that. We're going to do some live sessions, which is going to be very, very exciting. But I hope that does at least honor your question and give you a little bit of guidance. So for those of you who are at that stage and thinking, well, what is my talk title going to be? What makes you unique? What makes you different? What can you deliver? What's your big promise that you can give people that other people aren't giving? And have a look at book titles and talks and workshops that other people are already doing in your industry to get a little bit of an idea as to what's selling, what's working. But of course, you don't want to replicate that. You don't want to duplicate that. You just want to use that as part of your research and as part of the beginning of that process. And if you're part of a tribe, like if you're in a new tribe, and if you're not in, I invite you to come across to Explode Your Expert Brand. I'm going to pop that in there through the power of publicity, media, and public speaking. You can, of course, put your signature title in there, and we can also do some brainstorming in there. Now, Monica said she is YouTuber Christian Niche, encouraging people through ordinary people stories. Oh, I love that you speak about encouragement. So you're doing everyday, turning ordinary stories into extraordinary, and you are sharing the everyday stories from everyday heroes is what you're doing, Monica. So if you were to be speaking, what would you be speaking about? Finding the hero story within? Is that what you would be speaking about? Because that would be an interesting talk title. How do you find your, and this is kind of marketing speak, but for those of you in the online marketing world, we have, of course, the hero's journey story. And a lot of people struggle with, well, what is mine? Which elements of mine do I pull out? And hero is a very sexy word. So when you're coming to working at your signature talk titles, short words are really, really sexy. Getting ahead of myself, I'm going to have a whole training on that. You guys are so welcome. Thank you so much. This is so special for joining me on this very first Facebook Live weekly. And I look forward to you seeing this evolve. And I look forward to seeing all of your comments and your feedback on what you would love for me to cover. So yes, guys, I have used two things to grow an international business: media and publicity, and speaking. And many of you have been nagging me, and I have been promising to do this for a couple of years, and I'm finally doing it because, you know, it's been my two favorite things for income generation, for authority and influence, is media and publicity and speaking, and both go hand in hand. If you have the logos, it's easy to get booked as a speaker. It gives credibility and authority, and yet speaking is very, very fast way to generate income. And so I thought to myself, you know, these have been pivotal for me so that I can, you know, follow love and travel around the world so I can impact and grow my business anywhere in the world. And so that's why I'm bringing that to you now. So speaker training is now on the agenda. You can, and I am super excited about it. I'd love to hear what you would like some help with. So before I, you know, waffle any further, bless you all. Thank you so much. You're so welcome. And I'm so pleased that you got some value from this, and I will talk to you all soon. Keep the comments, keep the questions coming, because I am going to review this so I can make sure I'm giving you what you need to be growing. I know, growing your business. Thank you, Kate. Thank you for being such an amazing cheerleader. Such amazing, such a beautiful vibe we have here, and such amazing talent in the comments and in the people who have joined us. So thank you so much, and have an amazing day, guys, wherever you are in the world. Take care. Oh, and I'll see you next week. I'll see you next week. I'm going to need a throwaway line like Rove in Australia says, hey, say hi to your mum for me. So I'm going to need one of those. Deborah, you're very welcome. Oh, I'm great. I'm so excited you got some great new nuggets. That was just so huge to me because you're such an established speaker. And congratulations on getting booked for February as well. That's fantastic. Very excited for you and looking forward to connecting some more. It's been too long. Okay, guys, you take care. I'll have a tagline for you soon, but till next week, keep those comments coming in. And if you haven't hopped over to the Facebook group, please do so. I'm going to put that in the comments and in the description. And if you don't have the Media One Sheet, honestly, do grab it because it's coming down. I've got a new one coming up that I am just working on right now. So grab this one while you can, because you won't be able to get it. And it's actually the one that I do use and have used for the last couple of years to get booked all around the world. So that is yours as a free gift. Take care. Love you. Bye.